Can you repeat that one more time?
Call the meeting to order at 5:37. You can do roll call?
Sure. Amaro,
Here.
Costa.
Here.
Soriano, here. Catch.
Call the meeting to order at 5:37.
Amaro. Sure. Amaro.
Here.
All right, but we're good, we're live. Sorry about that. Right, so there was order,
Two members absent.
roll call, okay. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, do we have any additions or deletions, referrals?
I noticed that two of our members, James Curry and Jamaica Castillo, have been absent for more than several meetings. I don't know how many. Without knowing how to say it correctly, I think that's something we need to address at the meeting.
And notify the HOA. They want to replace them.
I looked to John for direction.
I'll look into it, I'll reach out, personally, see what's going on. You said it was Xiomara Castillo?
James Curry.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else? Okay. And moving on to public comments. Who would like to go first?
Pass.
No, I think I'll get a spot later on, motion put in the business. Unless you guys want to make public comments. You're good, Chair.
Okay, so, Ernesto.
Yeah, go
for it. You started.
Okay, yeah, your name and address, please.
Yeah, Ernesto Pérez con la HOA de
Lakeland,
Lakeland Ellen.
la dirección.
I was. One thing that caught my attention is that on May the 23rd of this year, you had in the budget speed bumps. And my question is, under what authorization you approve speed bumps? What was the method that you utilized to approve speed bumps? Anybody knows here, what's the approval process for adding any item on the guard gate?
How would you want to take that?
The staff wants
My understanding
Members
is
to
it's
respond?
public comment, public comment.
What proof was proved?
You do not have to respond, that's
I'm
correct.
sorry?
They do not have to respond. This is your public comment. It is your time to speak. You have 3 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm asking. It's a question that I'm asking because it's illegal what you have done there. Okay, Henry Bollinger was here. Went back on the history of the Gargate. And it was passed by all the members of all the homeowners. By vote, by written. And the type of improvement that we voted for were 3. Sentinel security, 1 sentinel security, 1 unarmed uniform guard, and card readers and gates. There was no regard for speed bumps. So therefore, when you're asking of speed bumps, you have to refer it to the whole homeowners in order to approve speed bumps. And, you know, when I belong to a new organization, the first thing that I do is to look the history of the organization and what are the things that I'm working on there. And lo and behold, I find it right there. I wasn't going to address this, but I was just going to ask, who gives the authorization for approving anything more than and those three items. And then I see speed bumps approved. Nobody have told me here yet. Who approved the speed bumps? Who gave you the authorization for approving the speed bumps? Anybody answer me from the committee? If you don't know, I demand that the law department for the town give me an answer.
It's up to you if you want to answer.
Right, yeah, the members are not supposed to respond to public comments, we're supposed to just state the public comments, but I've been listening to this speed bump issue like for the last, 2 months. And I would say the following, as someone that utilizes that entrance every day, as someone that almost gets run over almost every day. Pushed in the car, people leave at a speed that if there's someone in front, I mean, I have to push my car to the side most of the time because people are in such a hurry to get home after they're already there at the entrance. It was a suggestion from this board, and I believe it came from me. Okay, what are the things that we can look for to make this safe? I'm looking for safety. I have grandchildren. I have an 83-year-old mother. We go to the park and I drive. Just driving, you get pushed by cars that just want to run from there. So in the different things that were discussed, I said, I would like to suggest speed bumps because they work in front of my HOA right now. They work in front of my daughter's house in Alamanda. It has slow things.
That is
So
a suggestion.
that is, this board, Ernesto, only has the power to make a suggestion to the council. The
Okay.
council is the one that.
So
decides.
it is not approved yet.
Well, I don't know, because I'm talking about the authority from the board. We only make suggestions.
Okay,
We
thank
don't
you.
have authority to.
At least that's a question. Now, then it is up to the town council. What is it? Where's the members of the town council here?
There.
There.
It is up to you if you want to
Okay.
give him extra.
If,
stuff.
When you go and, what
I'm
is
sorry,
suggestion?
can you give me 1 second? He needs to approve it. If you guys want to vote to approve, we give some more time.
The normal time is 3 minutes.
Correct.
And that's what we have adhered to since day one. If we are going to go into every detail or every issue, this is gonna go on forever, all night, okay? This is a comment section and not supposed to be a back and forth, so please state your comments and we will take our notations, and again, we recommend council votes and decide whether they want to approve things or not.
Okay, my recommendation is that this
So your 3 minutes,
proposal is
are okay,
illegal.
your 3 minutes are up.
I give him my 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
Okay, give me 1
my
second.
recom-
Go
my
ahead.
recommendation is that you need to submit this, like Maribel said, well, this is what she wants. And maybe you all want that, but you need to, the process for you guys is to submit this to the town council. And then they will have to find out what is the method of approval. Now, the authorization that I have here, it was back in 1994. And then the legal authority was obtained from the homeowners in 1995 and included sentinel security 24 hours a day, 365 per year, 1 unarmed uniformed guard, and car readers and gates. There was no question at all of speed bumps. And whatever else you have added all throughout the years since 1994 is illegal. Okay, so I think we have 2 town council members here that are listening to this. And the reason why, I may go over the 3 minutes or not, but this is very important. When we're talking about, and I'm referring to you, this is very important because when you're referring that there is something that you have done illegal, you need to pay attention and say, whoops, we need to figure this out. So you probably should appreciate the fact that I brought it to you. So I would like to ask the town council members, have you, since the proposal that is in 1993 of May, have this group of advisory group have brought to you the issue of speed bump and requesting approval?
May I have 3 minutes?
I'm gonna give him the time I will request later for for me
Thank
to
you, thank
finish.
you. First of all, I want to thank the advisory board. Your volunteers and you're stepping up your time and the residents for being here. The town is the final word. Be the final word, so is Councilman Romano. And anything we do, anything the advisory board does is that they're advising us. In the end, our lawyers have to look into anything they advise, any decisions that we make, town attorneys have to look at. They know what's, if it's legal, not legal. The advisory board right here is not doing anything illegal. We've asked them to advise us, right? They volunteered to advise, to represent all the members there, so they're advising us. In the end, be it speed bumps or anything like that, our lawyer's gonna make that final decision. Hey, they're gonna look at the ordinance. They're gonna say, hey, is this legal or not? Does this follow what the ordinance says, or is the wording in the ordinance allow us to do that? And then in the end, Ms. Ron, myself, the council, the mayor will make that decision based on everything we hear from the residents, like you're here. We've been to meetings, we're here, and what the advisory board advises. But again, the advisory board would not do anything illegal. They advise. They come to us, hey, we think we need to do this. We think we
No,
need to do
what
that.
I'm saying is not, they have done, I say the action of not recommending that to you for approval
Yes.
is an illegal action.
Well, see, when you say illegal action, again, that's
Obviously.
your interpretation.
No.
Our lawyers have not made that decision. If they make
Okay,
that
so
decision,
I'm
we
asking
cannot
for a
approve.
decision.
So
they don't
I
make the
apologize,
decision.
but it's his.
Yeah, they don't make the final decision. Again, as an elected official, I was elected to make that final decision based on what the advisory board tells us, what the residents tell us, and my own research. We will each individually make a decision, and if we have a majority, it will pass or will not pass. But again, nothing's been done illegal, nothing's been implemented. Our lawyers are looking into that. The advisory board, I can tell you right now, they're doing it out of whoever brought that up, they passed it because they thought this would be something that would help the community. Now, agree or disagree, they're not the final word. And they're not doing anything illegal. They're doing what we asked them to do as a body. We're gonna make that final choice. So I would ask everybody here to just, as we respect your opinion, we're gonna respect the advisory boards and what they advised. Doesn't mean we're agree with it, but they're not doing anything illegal. They haven't done anything illegal. They're not suggesting anything illegal. We're gonna be the final word. So
Okay.
is that my 3 minutes? But I want to
have 30 seconds.
Okay, so again, and everybody needs a chance to speak, so if everybody gets the 3 minutes, again, they're listening to your comments and they're gonna make their final decisions. But I would ask you to respect the chairman, the way he runs the meeting, but I think everybody is gonna have a chance to speak about it. Okay, thank you so much, guys.
I guess I have a right to respond to that shortly.
Thank you.
No, your comments were up. He had his minutes. Now, would anybody else like to make a public comment?
Yes. Yes, I'd like to make comments. Yes.
Name and address,
My address is 1840 Nancy Terrace.
name.
Okay. That's fine.
Can you repeat your
I just
name?
need the name.
Tina Gallinar. 1840 Nancy Terrace.
I appreciate you all going easy on me on the first day.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank the advisory board for volunteering. Because, we also volunteer many of the activities and I know it takes our time. So I really thank you and I thank you for giving us the opportunity to express our opinion. And provide feedback. I think, working together, I think we can make this much better. Okay, so. We, the homeowners do not want to pay for special privacy. Okay, so as the one we talked, the landscaping every 3 months, changing it, I think it's completely it was too much, so I would recommend that the landscaping and not only in the guard gate, but all throughout Miami Lakes, instead of 3 months changing all the flowers and all of that, make it like every 6 months. Because what I'm seeing is that the little flowers are removed every 3 months. It doesn't make sense. I think it's just poor use of our tax dollars. So my recommendation, I think that one of the things that I would really like to see is better communication to the homeowner. I know you're doing a great job communicating through the council, okay, and that is going fine. You do that, you're doing that, and but then the council has to ask us what do we want to do? Okay, my recommendation is enforce a strict communication plan that must be followed by the town and the 7 members of the Special Taxing District Advisory Board Committee, so that feedback for approval from homeowners that they represent is obtained before proposing new additions beyond the Gargate original scope. That is my request, that you let us know what you're doing, and then how do you do that? Well, I propose addition for those that must be announced to the owners behind the Gargate via either HOA meetings, the newsletter from the HOA, the local newspaper, and sending emails to the HOAs. This is what we plan to do. The 7 HOAs behind that Gargate. Send the information to the HOA. The secretary of the HOA should send to all the homeowners what you plan to do. You want to plan to do, whatever you're trying to do there next, which things that you think that is good for us. But please let us tell you what we like, if it's good or not. The majority of the people here need to know, and I think that is the conflict right here that we're seeing that we're just not giving enough time to respond. So the town must require that unless the majority of the owners vote to approve, no project will be allowed to be implemented nor funded using tax dollars that are tax dollars from the Special Taxing District. Revise your current contracts that are causing our taxes to be spent in a wasteful manner. Revise the contracts of the landscaping and others that are really doing things that are beyond what we want. Okay, thank you very much for listening. My 3 minutes are up.
Perfect time.
Very good.
Thank you. Exactly.
Esperanza Reynolds, 8465 Mendiet Terrace. During the last 2 months, we have held 2 property owners meetings prior to our HOA meetings of July and August. The first reviewed the original ordinance and where we stand with regards to non-ad valorem taxes. The second included John Paul Yanis, liaison for the Special Taxing District, who actually asked that he wanted to meet with us to improve communications. Our point is clear. How can we improve communications when we have attended all Special Taxing District meetings, always asking for the right to vote for anything that deviates from the original ordinance, and the advisory board, the council, and the administration have failed to hear us? Please understand these issues have made the property owners of Section 1 rather upset. Assessment increases, we pay more than ever. A survey that asked if we wanted to keep the guard company, and yet you chose to change the contract. Decision to hire level 2 guards when they are more expensive than level 1, and all they do is capture a tag number. Technology that changed with regards to entry pass through the gate arms that do not work, with red, green lights, as if we would needed to know that it's red or to go or to come back or to stop. It actually looks like Star Wars at night. New transponder system that tracks our behavior. Our companies are going tied to our automobile tax, for which we have to provide proof of property ownership in Section 1. Fear that speed bumps will impede the path of rescue, firefighters, school buses. Flowers that are removed every 3 months. Tree planters in a rather small space. Just imagining the root damage that we have brought upon ourselves sends chills down my spine. We are all equal beyond the guard gate. As each one of us pays the same exact amount for these assessments, we have the same rights, not just some, not just a few. Before the meeting of 8/15/2023, we rode our bikes and we asked property owners that we found on our way to ask if they received communications from each one of the boards. And invariably the answer was no, they had no clue what was going on. So property owners in 2 of our communities do not even understand why there is a guard gate at the entrance when Regatta Point and the Anchorage pay further homeowners association assessments for a guard gate of their own. And these are people that just bought, so they go like, and why is it that we have to? The most upsetting of everything is the fact that in the year 2023 of our Lord, we have to ask for the right to vote. Our 7 HOAs are bound by one original ordinance. It was signed when there were 443 homesteaded properties. We were promised that we would pay no more than $130 per year. And now there are 823 making payments and we pay more than ever. I mean, that makes sense. So we're here to ask that you recommend charging us $208 this year, as he suggested in the last meeting, and that you return everything to compliance with the original ordinance and that we be given the right to vote. Thank you. I hope I did it in 3 minutes because I timed my. That kitchen clock works.
Okay.
That was good, that was good.
Yes. Right.
Are there any more comments?
Yes, I have one.
Eric?
Martha Gonzalez, 8611 Dundee Terrace. I'm listening to all this and I see that probably you guys are trying to break, say, the gate. But first of all, I'm sure that all of you have noticed how many times those machines are not working, not going a lot of time. Just today I went out at 1 o'clock. They had the gate going out. First of all, that one is always open. So you can go and do whatever you want. Now, this morning, they had the truck of the people that were working. They changed the lane and they kept going, telling you, so we had to get out through the entrance, the middle entrance.
Mhm.
I have pictures there. Many times they have the cones, machine is not working. So where are we doing to prevent that? Before, we never had that problem. Even, I'm sure that was real old, okay? And they work. Now, every single day is something. Either one it's open, or it's down, or it's red.
Mhm.
I have pictures, I take pictures, and I say, where is our money going to? So now the bumps, I'm against it. I have never seen, I mentioned to the town clerk, I told them that one thing that you guys should look into, the gates were going real slow, they were real slow, going up. I guess they got my message, and now they're going faster up. So if somebody comes, I understand, and they don't wait, and if they have a truck that is high, it might hit it. But so far, I have never seen anybody speeding there. I have never seen it. We've been there 23 years. And there, I'm happy the way it was. But why is the town spending that money and putting more things on our taxes if it's not working? So that's my opinion. Thank you very much. Thank you for your volunteer work.
Anyone else that wants to make a comment?
Yeah, my name is Harry Bollinger and my address is covered under the chapter 119. I want to address the LPR system. I'm one of the big believers in the police LPR system. But to use it inside the city is a misuse of that equipment. The whole idea of an LPR system is to set it up in a high traffic zone where you have opportunities to catch through traffic going. The bad guys are going from one place to another. The proper use for Miami Lakes would be set it up at the major entrances to the town so that you catch any traffic coming into the town. But once you go to a neighborhood like the Special Taxing District 1, you have 842 properties that are going out in the morning, coming back at night, going out to the store, coming back. So you're not really catching a lot of outside traffic. You do get some outside traffic, but not much. But the outside traffic you do get should have already been caught at one of the entrances as it came into town. So it's really a misuse, big expenditure. And that is not a good use for the LPR system. So I'd recommend that you should focus on putting cameras out on the outer edges of the town, not inside. Because as I've said in other meetings, that putting not only one camera, but 4 cameras on that gate at multi-thousands each is like putting a camera on at the end of my driveway. It's only a little bit more effective because it's going to get more traffic, but it's the same premise. You're putting it on my driveway. It's already been captured on other cameras. So I implore you to reconsider that. Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody else that would?
Is there any other homeowner that wants to speak? No. Thank you so much. Marilyn Ruano, Councilwoman for the town of Miami Lakes. First and foremost, thank you for your service. I know that serving on these committees takes a lot of time and dedication, and we appreciate all that you do. In a couple of recent meetings that I've had, I was introduced to the ordinances that created the special taxing districts in the town of Miami Lakes. We have been managing these districts for quite some time now, but I don't think that we ever really delved deeply into the ordinances and how very simple and straightforward they're written and how the service is very limited to a very specific purpose. So for some time now, the council has been approving budgets that have been presented to us from various advisory boards. Each NSD or special taxing district has their own advisory board. They create their budgets with the help of town staff. It gets presented to the council and we approve it. Nothing that has transpired to date in the years that we've been managing the special taxing districts has not been approved by the council. So everything has gone through council approval. That being said, after reading these ordinances, after learning about them, I feel that the very specific details in them do not allow us to do some of the things that we've already done, much less some of the things that we've been planning to do in the future. So it is very important for me, and I'm going to request from our legal staff for the town attorney to meet with the advisory boards and read the ordinance and explain it to the members of the advisory boards so that we are all on the same page, residents, advisory board, and council, so that we all read the same document and all understand what it is that we can and cannot do with what is written in this particular document. That being said, for me, I think that it's very specific. 1 guard gate, 1 guard, arms that go up and down, nothing more than that. Unfortunately, with some of the new technology that's been placed in that area, everything that we purchase new doesn't work like the old stuff. That's just our reality. Nothing that is in our HOAs, we have the same situation. Our new arms break more than our old arms. That's just, it's the merchandise that's out there. It's a technology that is, flimsier or more sensitive. That's just the reality that we have. So that's not something that anyone has done wrong. It's just the system that we have that is just not as good as the one that was there before. I wish that we could rebuild the way that we used to build things back in the day, but that doesn't happen. So we're all on the same team. We're all trying to do what's right for the community. One of the changes that we want to implement now that will come up for a vote in our next council meeting is that we want to make sure that anything that is a capital improvement to these gates or buildings, the actual little guard house, anything that is a capital improvement goes to the residents for a vote.
Thank you.
Because these residents, thank you. These residents agreed, or all of you agreed years ago to tax yourselves. So we don't have a right as a council, we don't have a right to change the service, to build anything new. It has to go back to the original members that voted to tax themselves in the first place. It's very different from the council budget. So just to let you know that that'll be something that we'll be bringing up in our next council meeting. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Is there any more comments? All right, Chairman, would you like to close comments?
Do we have a motion to close public comment?
My motion.
Do a second.
Yeah, second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? No. All right, move on. Whole business. Anybody have a chance to review the minutes?
You haven't said it for that long, you know. You could have added the other numbers on there too, but I have no objection to it.
It is interesting when you do the minutes, watching the video than when they're here. They're really different. Also, the point of For the personal privilege, I show in some email that have been going around town, I've been absent for the March meeting, I was here.
March meeting?
Maybe for the records, I representing it wrong, but I was here in the March meeting, I wanted to be with. Okay. But it shows absent, I've been on public records, I show up there. I was absent in May.
Okay, I will
Sorry.
clarify that.
There's a typo on security guard services. Is it members discussed the service? Says members disused the service.
Thank you. That's autocorrect. Okay. Where's, I'm sorry.
I would motion to accept the minutes with that one typo break.
As amended,
Mhm.
seconded by.
Wait, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
I against. Okay, moving on. Security guard services, updates and reports. Do we have records?
We have George from SFM here, and he's gonna speak up to a little bit about the report that was put together, and I'll make some comments at the end as well.
Hi, good evening. My name is George Gonzalez. I'm the operations manager for SFM Security, which is we guard the guardhouses over there at your section. Basically, what we've been doing is basically trying to make sure that, of course, every vehicle that comes in is logged in. Of course, we've been having some troubles with the arm gates, like for today. We had some troubles with the exit and middle, and the exit. I mean, we have to block some of the exit so we could have alleviate the traffic coming out, because of course the arm bar and the exit wasn't working. So we had to utilize I believe it was the middle, if I'm not mistaken. So we could do that. And then of course the officer in the front to use the original guest arm. The third, I believe that one is still working, which is still utilized by the residents. Any questions that you guys may have for me in that?
Well,
I already said, and you.
Sorry,
No,
I'm so sincerely apologize. It has to be from the.
no, he doesn't.
advisory board.
Oh, I apologize.
I just wanted to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for the last 3 incidences. You've been out there within 24 hours and you've been taking care of it. I reported it myself on Monday. I didn't want to bother you on Sunday. And you guys came out today and I saw you working out there.
Yeah, I mean, those reports at the end of the day, as soon as one of the arm gates breaks, we report it. We do an incident report, send the pictures. We send it to John as soon as possible, as long with Jeremy. So he's also entitled, attached to all the reports. Of course, on the weekends it's a little bit harder because vendors are not going to come out unless you guys are going to pay for it, but that's not going to happen. But I mean, as soon as 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, me and John were working on it to see what's going on. For example, we've been texting back and forth to see where we could work, what we could fix as soon as possible. Like today, he was out. Then my role captain showed up so we could, again, get the traffic going because, unfortunately, the arm gates were not working as it should, unfortunately. So
do you happen to know in this incident if it was
I can answer that. So it's a combination of things. One of the guard arms was knocked over. The visitor lane was knocked over when it was going down. I guess it was like there was a car that kind of didn't stop like it was supposed to and went under, and it caused the guard gate to kind of shoot back up and it fell off. So that was that one. The situation with the exit lane was at some point the power was taken off. The power went out on that 8 lane. It was put back on, but it stopped kind of like at a 75-degree angle. Earlier this morning, one of the company that come to fix the guard gates, they usually send someone earlier in the morning before they show up to kind of take a scope of things and see what needs to be, how to fix it, what materials they may need to fix the guard gates. They noticed that guard gate was, since it was at a 75-degree angle, it's a higher chance that a truck may run into it. So he tried to go ahead and fix on his own. It's not, unfortunately, he wasn't able to. And what ended up happening was, rather than being in the upward position where it allows vehicles to go through, it got stuck in the downward position, so no vehicles could go through. So I had to, his security guard at the time tried to do their best to kind of work it out until I got there. I arrived a little bit later to kind of help the situation. We closed down that gate arm entirely. And then her and I, she was on one end, making sure that people that were going to go through the exit lane went through the visitor lane. And then I was on the other end, kind of directing traffic to go through one of the one guard gate that was working at the time, which is the resident lane. So we were waiting until, like I said, they came early to get a scope of it, but they were coming later on to fix it, which is around 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
3 p.m. they came and they fixed all the guard gates. But so for a couple hours we were making it work. I was there for a couple of hours, and then the captain showed up and took over.
Can I ask for clarity? The security guard SFM is not the one repairing the arms when they break.
Correct.
You're just reporting it
Yes,
to
ma'am.
your guard.
Correct.
Okay.
Safeware, Safeware / APS is the company that does the fixes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you have, from the last time we met till today, how many reports the town has received about the gate area being unmanned?
What do you mean? Unmanned?
Anybody complaining that the gate, there's nobody there?
I haven't received any
Since our last
reports of
meeting?
that.
No, ma'am.
Okay. The reason why I'm saying that,
Public comments is closed, I'm sorry.
the reason why I want clarification is
Yeah.
because of the public comments I'm receiving. And I also attended a county meeting, so I'm listening
Yeah,
to what's going on. I'm just one person. Donating my time, trying to be of service, trying to, right, keep our safety and all that kind of stuff, trying to abide by the rules. And I think us as a committee, we've never done anything without direction of the staff. We always ask town staff, hey, what's this, what's that? And so I asked that because when we considered changing security companies, it was because the overwhelming amount of complaints of the gatehouse was just empty. There was no security. So we got very, very frustrated, and we came in and we broke it. So that's, I mean, there's a reason to the madness of where we are now. We didn't just walk up at a meeting here and just say, hey, let's just do that. And we were listening to the town direction, and that's why we came on. And I'll say again is, you know, nothing is perfect, but there's been a huge improvement. So I, again, thank SFM
I
for,
appreciate that.
by the way, they've always been at these meetings.
Yeah.
And before there was a gentleman that would show up, but his contribution was, I'm gonna say, very lacking. So I appreciate that from SFM. Having said that,
Yes, ma'am.
there's a lot of talk about, we need to go back to, like Ms. Councilman Verano said, and Mr. Garcia is, hey, we're supposed to go back to the ordinance. What's the ordinance say? So I recall, and I can't tell you what date and all that stuff is. I haven't had the time to go back, nor do I envision me doing that. Is that asking, like, when they went to paint the white lines, I remember it's like, why did the money come out of the special taxing district? Why isn't the town thing? And what we were told was, from the beginning of that little island to the end of the island, everything in between that, from the sides of the street, that fell in our taxing district. So that's why the paint of those white lines came out of here. That's why the landscaping comes out of here. That's why the house comes out of here. That's why that lighting comes out of that. That's what we were explaining, not because I say, hey, let's just, that was a direction we were given. The ordinance does say there should be a 24, it says 24/7 unarmed man. Mr. SFM, do we have a 24-hour, 7-day manned guard gate?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we do.
You're telling me at all times, there's a man there.
Yes, ma'am,
I disagree with you.
Stop.
No.
That is, I disagree with you.
you do.
Yes. There are break times, there's lunchtime that your people are not there and there is no man there. Am I wrong?
Yeah, when they're taking the breaks, of course.
Okay, so we don't have a 24-hour, 7-day arm thing. And so, in part of this committee, I was one of the proponents to say, how do we get that done? I know that we got bids from SFM. At that point, we also got bids from other companies. And to do to follow the letter of the ordinance, which is have a 24-hour, 7 days a week. I don't care what holiday, I don't care what, bathroom break, what lunchtime, if someone was ill, it didn't matter. For us to have that, there was only one, there was various options from different companies. But it would double our tax dollars because we needed 2 men. And then that's where one of the companies, it might have been SFM, that said, well, if you do that, we'll throw in a roving car. And it was not that this committee said, we want a roving car. It was like, well, if to do 24/7, you need 2 men to do that. And they're gonna throw in the rover, then hell, more security for us, go for it. But that was the only thing. And as of, I think it was even the last meeting with Jeremy here, you weren't here, I don't recall, I confused meetings, but it was explained to us as there is no other option of how to do a 24/7. So this committee voted and it didn't, I motioned it, it did not pass. But if we stay true to the letter of this ordinance that I keep hearing over and over again, then that gate should have 24 hours, 7 days a week. Break time, bathroom break, ill time, there should be somebody there at all times. And we do not have it under our current premise, with our current tax dollars. That's not true as of my being on this committee. That's one thing I wanted to address. I want to clarify, but when I ask you again, you understand, no, there's break times.
Yes.
They're not there. Okay. That's the gate, okay. Regarding the gate arm, that's not you, and I don't know if we have another section of the gate arms. We really don't, so I'm gonna stay under this section, thinking it's appropriate to talk about in the security guard services. So in the gate arms, I think it was in the last meeting, not you, the other gentleman. John came in and it was asked direction from him or from the town as to, did we put the appropriate, not the arm, the machine, the pillar, because those are new. It's like, perhaps, did we somehow put something there that was meant for 100 cars to come through, where now we know there's 1,500 a day? And as of the last meeting, I remember staff update, which I think was Jeremy, said, nope, we did. This is what we currently have was meant and is intended for the traffic use that we have. Okay. Then I come in and say, you know what? Not now, what you guys are explaining today, but it was months ago where there was 2 lanes that were down with a cone in the middle for weeks. And in my head, I was like, unacceptable. If I'm on this committee representing one HOA and we have an ordinance and we're supposed to have all these things functioning, then my question was, what is the contract that the town has with the repair company, which is not you? That's what I want to
I do
clarify.
apologize, just to clarify, when was this?
When was what?
When the guard gate wasn't working for multiple weeks and
5 months.
5 months.
But I'll tell you, it's not
And it
uncommon.
was a recurring thing.
It's not uncommon, but at that point, the one I'm referring to, it was weeks. It wasn't days, it was weeks. But even days is unacceptable. So I was the one that says, what does the contract say? Because if we're paying tax dollars to have this security, is what do we have to do as a committee to ask for the council to help us so that we have I call it a 24-hour response time. The gate arm is down, somebody's out there. Because if that's what the tax dollars are for, then we shouldn't have a contract with a company that takes a week or 4 days to go out. It should be a 24-hour response so that we don't have cones. And I don't live in the other divisions. I live in this division, but it is very frustrating to come in and out. Not only because I'm a taxpayer, but because I'm part of this committee. To see that it's down again, it's down again, oh, it's down again. And then it's not just down, it's down for days, So it's not at you because it just happens to fall under this thing is, my understanding as of our last meeting is that they were doing a lack of words, like they were asking for bids.
Yeah.
That's what Jeremy explained. I think you were at the meeting, right?
Yeah, I was,
And Jeremy was like, oh, we're, nobody submitted it and we're doing, I don't know, whatever, and so. I guess my question is, do you have an update for us? On the bidding of the service company?
it is being sent out again for bid. So that is the update that I have right now. It's, at this point, we have to wait to see if there's any bids that come in. Right now, we don't have we have Safeware APS that, is who we call for maintenance on the guard gates. Typically, they are very good about 24-hour response. I know that, one thing that occurred was, I guess the exit gate arm stopped working on the weekend. And so sometimes, on the weekend, I might miss it on the weekend and I reported it Monday and it got fixed today, which is Tuesday. So it's 24 hours once reported. So, so that's why that one took a little bit longer and I do apologize for that. I need to be more.
It's been trending better, right?
Well, I'm not sure I agree with you, but I appreciate your response, and I know you're new, and you're our counsel, like you're advising us. But I beg to differ that there's a 24-hour response. Absolutely not. I personally have complained and 2 or 3 days pass and nobody's even gone because then I
Have you
follow up.
complained to me directly?
Well, no.
Okay. Well,
Before it was Jeremy who stood in for Christina, and then before Christina, it was Angel and. But I think the appropriate time is obviously.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Ren does a very good job of whenever he passes by the guard gate and he sees it's not working, he immediately texts me or sends me an email to let me know so that I can go ahead and report it. And I've provided my contact information as much as I possibly can. You should all have my contact information. Ms. Hope Reynolds has posted it in her PDF so that everybody is aware. So everyone should have my contact information. If you do not, please come see me afterwards and I'll be happy to provide you with my business card so you can have it as well. But all I ask is if there's an issue with the guard gate at any time, reach out to me via email, via text message, via phone call. You have the ability to post on C-Click, which is our system where you can post it onto the system and I can follow through there as well. So that I can go ahead and take care of it as soon as possible. But if I'm not aware of it, I can't fix it. So you're telling me that you didn't see it for 2 to 3 days. If you didn't reach out to me directly and no one else did, there's nothing I can do. There's no way of me fixing it without.
I reached out to Jeremy and then he politely said, no, and I apologize. I didn't
No
mean to
problem.
leave you out, John.
No problem. All I ask is going forward, you have my contact information, reach out to me directly so I can go ahead and that way there's a communication as far as how to.
And just every time that I've communicated to John, he gets back to me right away.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying it's trending in the right direction. It's because of John.
I got you.
Now, do
He's on
the
it.
guards report to you when the gate is out?
The guards report to SFM.
Okay.
They report to George and George typically they'll send the reports and I am fortunate enough to get the reports usually in a timely manner. So it's a matter of the guards going ahead and sending those reports as soon as it happens.
Exactly.
So sometimes it may take a little bit longer depending on the flow of traffic at that time, whether they're able to step away, because at the end of the day, they have to stop what they're doing to go ahead and write the reports.
So usually if I might add, so usually what happens, like say for example, like what happened today, Luisa, which is the officer that was working there, she called me up, hey, George, this is what's going on. Okay, please, when you have a chance, because I know the traffic is gonna be crazy, try to do the report. I reached out to John, hey, John, I have this situation going on, but I'm already ahead of time before the report gets done, so he's already aware of what's going on prior of him sending the vendor.
So I appreciate the response, John, but so you understand is for us to get to the point that we're asking, to get bids from new companies, it wasn't one day we just got here and say, oh, let's change companies. It's because it was It's good, yeah, it's been a problem.
It's great.
No, absolutely, and so I've been working very closely with regards to the actual guard gate reports. SFM has done an excellent job of, getting me those reports in a timely manner. But again, it all comes down to they have to have time to go ahead and fill out those reports. And so it depending on the flow of traffic, for example, it just so happened that I was there at the moment that it happened, but a U-Haul truck ran through the guard gate. I was there to get it. I got the report the next day, but I had already seen it because I witnessed it in person. So I was able to go ahead and start the process sooner, but it was in the middle of 6 o'clock, everybody's coming home from work. It's very difficult to go ahead and have the guards stop everything they're doing, put the guard gate up and write the reports. It's not the right time. They need to do it. So
On that note, at the last meeting, SFM gave us a report. John was here. We asked a question like of the guard gates, of what they have reported as to why they're down. And it was 9 where no question was because it was hit, or Dave explained to us, even a slight tap on it will throw that off. And that was from August to that meeting. So when I did that, that's an average of once a month that's hit. That U-Haul example you're giving, I think you guys, you and Jeremy both shared that with us at our last meeting, because it doesn't sound like it's the first time I hear it. And I think today you're saying somebody else hit it.
that was a recent, the U-Haul thing was, I would say in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, all right, that's a different incident.
yeah.
So from our last meeting to today, does SFM and or you have how many times the gate arms have been reported as down because of a hit or a tap or, and I'm only asking because we're on your line item, but I'll have something to say later when we get to our speed bumps.
Okay, total roughly about 27. And just in the 3 months.
So from our last meeting to today, 27,
Yeah,
because of hits.
yes,
Hurry, I'm trying to.
All right, thank you, I appreciate that.
you were looking.
I have no further questions or no motions.
Mr. Chairman, before we move from the item, I'd like to open public hearing for the General Department. You had a comment on this issue, but we were closed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right, that's it.
All opposed?
Rick Gonzalez, 8611 Dudley Terrace. Good question. I have a question to you. Are all the other neighborhoods that have gates have the same problems that we do?
In terms of
Breaking, not working?
I would say that all of them I've had to contact the company to maintain all the other guard gates. It's not just specifically yours that.
George. I see lots of times when I come in through, through our gate, that the customer gate entrance, it's open. The person is there inside that office,
Okay,
but the cars that see it open, they speed right through. Not even a chance to take their tag,
okay,
and that happens a lot. That's all I wanted to say.
okay. You know what the time frame the best for that you pass by?
Most of the time when I come in, around 2 o'clock, 1:30.
Morning officers, okay.
Might be their breakdown.
Is your,
No, because I see them through the window that they're sitting there or standing there.
When officers on break,
Yes, ma'am.
are they in the guard gate?
Yes,
Yeah, and they do
Yeah.
raise the arm
yes,
because,
they do.
okay. So it
So
could be that they're on break.
anybody that wants to go through there without their tag, they can go through there when they're in the bathroom or whatever.
Well, unfortunately, if they're in the restroom, they have to raise it, because if not, there will be a pile of cars in the,
So we're trying to avoid traffic like with the LPRs,
yeah.
but with the gate open, anybody can go through there, even the bad guys, as Harry said.
Yeah.
is your comment over?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Moran.
Yes, thank you. Since you were open public comments, I was trying to text JP to give him the suggestion.
Also, sorry,
No, that's okay. No
I put
worries.
my phone on airplane mode.
That's very responsible of you, not like the rest of us that are all texting each other. I wanted to suggest the use of perhaps a handyman to repair the arms sometimes. These bigger companies that we have them bid for these contracts and whatnot, they're very bureaucratic and they're very square in their processes. Sometimes when you have a handyman, I know that town has a handyman, these things are more streamlined and they're more efficient, they're more cost effective, and we can get that maybe 24-hour turnaround. There's a lot of times that if they don't have the specific piece, the part, then it has to stay shut down, where the handyman sometimes thinks outside the box. And he can, accommodate something temporarily and get it up and running until the perfect parts arrive. But that might be a fix for this, looking into the future, maybe suggesting something like that to see if it could be done. I've done that in my community where we've weaned off of the actual contract for service and have used a handyman, and it seems to work much better.
So prior to me being there, there was use of the handyman at times. The problem that was occurring, to your point, was we would send the handyman wouldn't be able to fix it, and that would slow down the process of getting it fixed. So instead of it taking one day to get fixed, and we have 2 handymen. Those handymen have other responsibilities, so it depends on when they're available to go ahead and fix that guard gate or whatever, and sometimes it can be multiple guard gates. In that case, what ends up happening is, let's say that the thing happened yesterday at 7 p.m. and they're able to come by at 3 p.m. to try to fix it. If they're not able to fix it that time, then I have to go ahead and reach out after that, after I'm notified that it wasn't able to be fixed. Go ahead and notify. You see what I'm saying? It slows down the whole process. So ultimately, that's not what their expertise is.
No, I agree.
So
I agree with that.
they are trying to make it as functional as possible. And sometimes they can make things. If you try to rig it without knowing what to do, it could make it worse. Like, for example, the guard gates right now are using specific like plastic screws. What are they called?
Bushings.
Right. So they're using those and they're plastic, but our handymen don't have that. They have metal ones, which could cause an issue if someone wants to run through the gate. They could actually, not only using a metal one, not only break the bar, but they could break the actual machine because it's connected to the machine. If it's connected by metal, it could break the entire thing, which would cost us more. So that is why since I've come in, I don't contact the handyman at all, and I go to the experts and I.
So long as they come within a reasonable time, that sounds perfect. But since I'm hearing that there's delays,
Right.
and that they're not really fulfilling their contract the way that they should, perhaps in the meantime, we could maybe try something different.
I do want to be clear, the company that does the fixing has done a very good job of being within 24 hours of fixing it. Whenever I report things, they typically take 24 hours or less. I reported things yesterday. They did arrive today, again, at 8 in the morning, and then again at 3 p.m. to go ahead and solve the problem. So they do a very good job within 24 hours of solving. As far as things to, solutions to make it easier for the guard gate to work as it's intended. I've looked into certain things to see what can be done, but ultimately it's not in my. It's above me to go ahead and make those decisions. It would have to go through the advisory board and the council. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion to close public hearing.
I have just a quick one. This is to SFM Representative George. What I've noticed as a resident, I use the resident lane. And before I go through and I try to open it, the guard is already open it for me, which is very nice of them. But that deflates the purpose of having a transponder to open the gate. They're just letting me, what if I'm not a resident? I'm just going to go in.
Because they see the little card and.
Right, but they're assuming that I'm a resident. No, I should be able to open the gate myself, not have the guard open it for me. Very nice.
I'll speak to them regarding that. I mean,
Yes,
sometimes once you start seeing the face and you start recognizing the person,
The
they
card.
do that for, so that you could get in, but regardless, I'll speak to them not to do that because again, it does defeat the
It has
purpose.
happened.
Yes.
Not a
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you, George.
You're very welcome.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second,
Staying on the security fund, so you're mentioning, John, I guess since you took the new post, that the service company is doing really good in responding. So I guess my question is that exit lane where the arm was up for a long time, more than one day. Was there a piece missing? Is there something you can report as to why?
I haven't spoken to them. I've been preparing, I was out there for a couple of hours. I'm sure you can see it in my face. I'm gonna have a really nice head. But I spent a few hours out there with the traffic. So I haven't had a chance to speak to them and see exactly what was the issue. As soon as I find out, I could go ahead and send you guys an email.
And I don't mean to bust your chops.
No.
What I was trying to say is, because you said we're really doing good in responding in 24 hours. And my point is, I'm not talking about that exit lane arm up today. I'm talking about a week ago and 2 weeks ago where and actually I heard in public comments where the exit lane is constant. And I want to say, I tend to say more in the morning, right? It's sort of like up and just sits there.
So-
Is it broken?
No, so
Is
I've already looked into that as to what was going on, and I already know what the problem is. The issue is that, so the guard gate works based off the sensor.
Mhm.
I'm sure you guys know the sensor that I'm referring to, the light that it reaches from the oncoming car, and that's when it goes up. The issue that's happening is at 3 AM every morning, the sprinklers go on, and the sprinklers are affecting that sensor. The other day it rained a lot and it rained heavy, and so it affected that sensor. And so that's what tends to be the reason, and the system itself, when the sensor's not working, it automatically puts it up in the upward position. Because it's set that way to whenever it doesn't move. So that is the issue. Now it's about solving the problem. I've looked into with the company, Safeware APS, to kind of see what can be done. As far as can we move the sprinkler? Can we move the sensor closer? As far as maybe putting like a box around it to cover it so that it doesn't get rained on, things like that. So I am working on finding a way of making it work more consistently, especially since it is a recurring theme. What ends up happening is what we talk to SFM is it's a very simple solution when it does get stuck like that, is they just go ahead and reset it and it turns back on. So most of the guards follow through with that. Sometimes I'll have to, obviously a quick reminder to just go ahead and reset it. And typically I would say 90% of the time, that's the solution. It's just resetting that bar and it works. But I am actively looking into, kind of ways that we could fix that exit gate arm so that it's no longer a recurring issue. And also looking at the most cost effective way, because it may cost more to move for example, the sprinkler system away than for us to just maybe move the guard. How far does it need to be to connect, all that stuff. So I'm working on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, since we're talking on security guard services and updates, I know he just provided the report. I do want to highlight the fact that SFM has graciously given me access to their cameras and to their system that they use for monitoring the actual photos that are taken of the license plate tags. So they've given me more access to go ahead and make sure that we're on top of the guards and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be. So that's one thing that I just wanted to highlight. So they've been very instrumental in kind of giving me that access so that if I need to look back at something,
Something else that we're planning on doing shortly is they're going to be installing cameras on the outside. So that we'll have cameras on the outside of the guardhouse as well through them, so.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, access card update. Where we at?
Access card update, I don't have well, first off, let me start off by saying that, I don't know if anybody's applied for, a new access card recently. I completely overhauled and updated the application form. There was an issue where it wasn't getting, notifications as far as, when someone would, fill out a form. So it could, unless you're checking it constantly to see, to make sure that there's, that someone had applied, you may miss it. So one thing I made sure that I updated the form where the payments can be made on one single application as opposed to multiple pages or anything like that. I added a schedule on a calendar so that you can, when you apply, you'll be able to automatically set up the time and date where you're going to pick it up at town hall, and also made it more, user friendly. I'm still looking to for ways to improve the application process further to make it easier as possible.
So there's still 444 houses that have not claimed their card.
Since I've updated the form,
Mhm.
there has been, I'm just giving you a rough estimate. I would say there's been between 5 and 10 additional people who have picked up cards.
So okay, because I don't really put the number.
Yeah, I'll find out for you. Yeah.
Well, leave it blank if you can enter it.
I'm sorry?
I put a line on it and you can-
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go ahead and get back to you on that as far as how many additional.
Frozen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but it's not-
Is that just happening?
It's not been working for a while.
Thank you so much for coming up. We really appreciate it.
It just froze.
Okay, it looks like it's still recording.
You just have
YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, moving on, LPR update.
Council voted to pass the LPRs. The contract has been finalized. And the estimate for installation is going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks.
1 second.
We're waiting on Motorola, I remember.
The last meeting was, once engineering is finalized, there was 45 days after in order to proceed for installation. So I guess my question is, engineering is finalized?
Everything is finalized. The contract was finalized. What the delay was, we wanted to put it before council to vote. They did have an opportunity to vote. And they passed it, and the contract once it was passed, we went ahead and finalized the contract.
Okay.
Inch by inch, moving forward.
I know, 4 to 6 weeks gives us,
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks gives us when?
Before Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have, I mean, I can look at a calendar, but yeah.
So part of my ignorance, but my question, I guess, is, you said it went before council for a vote. So I know that when originally we had recommended the LPR, I know that the town, is it Major? The top.
Yeah.
Gonzalez, yeah.
Gonzalez, yeah.
It's Gonzalez now,
Yes,
but before.
Probably Ruiz,
Okay,
Major Ruiz.
he came before the committee, we had a very well attended meeting, a lot of input and so forth. And we recommended to go forward with it, the town council had voted in favor. Can you expound a little bit on what the new vote was, just so that I'm up to date on? You just said the town council recently voted. It
Right,
sounds like it.
so they voted on the contract of it to
Oh, okay.
approve.
For the Motorola.
Correct, they voted on the contract to approve the contract as it's
I got you.
laid out, yeah.
Okay. So from our last meeting that it said. I'm going on, our secretary's, once engineering is finalized, there are 45 days after the order to proceed for installation. Are we there at this point? Are we now at the?
We're past that point, like I said, the contract was finalized. I've already, actually tomorrow,
discussing with the representative from Motorola to go ahead and they're gonna be shipping, it's gonna take 6 to 8 weeks for the shipment to be done and then installation, so.
All right, thank you,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Any public comments?
It's up to,
No comments. Speed bumps, update.
speed bumps update, the council voted to pass the speed bumps on the visitor lane. We're looking into appropriate installation procedures.
So the council voted,
The council voted and passed for a speed bump
On the.
just on the visitor.
Okay, well, that's a start. See.
It is.
And if it's, successful and it stops the breakages of the arms.
Well, I think that's where,
That's where we let out.
a lot of
Yes.
discussion was, we're not speed monitors and all that. It was all out of this committee's frustration of the arms being down so often and then taking forever to get repaired. And then we asked for reports. And the reports came back and they averaged once a month. Now with this new report, you're talking about 27 hits in the last couple of months. So our.
I'm so sorry. Everyone, please respect the fact that the meeting is going on. Thank you.
So I think with the report today that there's 27 new hits and that's affecting the arm being down. And by the way, that means more service reports and all that, it's all money, money, money. At the end of the day, the reason the speed bump came at the recommendation of town staff. And then I challenged it because I remember, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there was a conversation about, I remember Harold was part of the board.
Right.
And there was a conversation of speed bump and town staff gave us, or informed us that speed bumps was not an option because we'd have to go through county because it was a public road. And then now recently, when I say recently is a couple of meetings ago, one of the recommendations was, oh, perhaps a speed bump will kind of force people to slow down so that there's less hits, so that we have less breakage of the arm, so that the area flows the way it was intended. Which I even said, wait a minute, so before, and then it was like, oh, who said that? I don't know. And anyways, here we are. And so I think that's where a committee went through and we passed putting speed bumps thinking it would force the people to. By the way, I think, John, you were there at the last meeting where Jeremy reported, I think both of you were physically there and you guys witnessed, people are timing. They're timing the, like, I don't want to slow down,
Yeah.
and then they end up, and they said, it was reported to us that a slight tap.
And that
We
kind of
put that
goes
out of
back
function.
to, I think, what she had mentioned as far as the timing.
Yeah.
The timing has, so I have the ability to go ahead and have the safe word, to go ahead and change the speed of it, and I think that's something that was done prior to me being here. I think it was a slower
Yeah.
rate and they made it faster. I think ultimately it might be better to make it slower to slow down the people that are timing that guard gate, but there's, and that's just my opinion. It's ultimately it's up to you guys to decide what you would like to do. I could slow it or I could speed it up, however you guys would like.
The thing is, we don't have, because from the other security service,
Right.
we didn't have the reports that we have now, so. We asked that question before.
Yeah.
Pat, before you came on, we asked many times, like, how many times has it hit? Oh, and we didn't have a straight answer, now we have straight
Now we have
answers, now we have data.
Yeah.
So it's like, knowledge is power, so it's like, okay, how do we resolve this? Because it's frustrating, like I said, not just as a committee member, but as a a homeowner going by there and always seeing a freaking cone in front of one lane or 2 lanes, not for a day, but for days and sometimes weeks. So that was the solution. So if the town council, which I know they work hard and make tough decisions, and that's why we wrote them in there. If they voted to do one on the visitor, and I guess the committee, well, that's a great way to monitor it.
It was not only the reason for it was the cost. Every time they do that, it's a cost
Yeah,
to
yeah.
all of us
Yeah.
to repair it. So we were trying to come up with with a way for safety
right.
and to save cost.
Right, right.
So there's a number of ways. First off, let me just say this. These incidents with the guard gates and why they're breaking, there's a number of reasons why they happen. It's not just specifically one reason. It's not solely the cars are running into the guard gate. I want to make that clear. There's many reasons why they break. For example, one other reason that it could be breaking is the amount of times that the guard gate is going down. And then immediately the button is pressed and goes right back up before it reaches its low, its down position. That guard gate is meant to go up to the very top and down. If you are, when it's going down, it jerks up like that. It could cause the nails, the, what are they called again? I'm sorry.
The bushes.
That, I can't say it. It could cause that, because they're plastic, to come off sooner, come off easily.
Right.
And so that is part of the reason why it could happen. There, like I said, there's a number of reasons that it could happen. Recently, a tree, I don't know, you had pointed it out, a tree fell on one of the guard gates. That guard gate was not functioning, so there's a number of reasons why it could happen.
And to that point, actually, so can I ask, SFM, you gave us a report of how many hits, 27 since our last meeting. Can you tell us how many incidents in total are there? That way, kind of like, okay, 27 were hits. How many more were other reasons? Is there 2 more reasons or is there 50 other?
And also the 27 doesn't mean that every single time that the car was hit means that the guard gate stopped working. It doesn't, it just means that there were 27 times in which there was contact between the guard gate and a vehicle. So could be, like we were just talking about, came down on top of a car or something like that. But
Like,
while
I guess is how
he,
many incidents are reported of a gate arm incident, and since our last meeting?
while he looks for that, there's many ways that we can look into to find solutions. Everything has a cost, and it's just determining what's the best way of going it. I've looked into a couple of things as far as with specifically regards to the breaking of the guard gates when they impact with a vehicle. There's a swivel that can be put on the guard gate that once it makes contact with a vehicle, it automatically shoots back. And then reaches a point and then shoots back into position. So if a car was to hit it, it would just push it out. As opposed to right now where if it's in place and you hit it, it could fall over.
And that swivel option,
Right.
just like an adapter, or is that?
It would be an
behind the
adapter.
tower?
Right, it would be an adapter. So that is one thing that I've looked into to see, as far as costs and stuff like that, I don't have a cost for you right now.
I was gonna
It's
ask my
just-
next
no.
question.
I don't have a cost for you right now. But it is a something that I've looked into, as far as to see
Alternative.
alternatives as to how we can make it more functional.
And that can be adapted to the equipment we have now.
That's another thing that I'm still, this is very early process. But I know that exists.
Exists,
So,
okay.
now it's a matter of just, doing the right
Change
sport.
it, yeah.
Did you have the answer?
89.
89. So 89 incidences, 27 were
Right.
contact with the vehicle.
Yeah, so I would have to look into to see if that adapter works the way it's supposed to. If it is able to be adapted to the specific ones that we have, the cost of it, all of that. So once I have that information, I'll go ahead and obviously share it with you all and let you know, what that would look like.
Do we have a timeline for that one?
Well, right now, we're going through the procedures to see the best way to go ahead and to make sure that it follows the procedures that are already out there with regards to speed bumps. So it is a public road, so there are
public rules and regulations for speed bumps. So we have to make sure that when we put that it's following those rules and regulations.
So as a committee, our recommendation was review by the council. They took us up on the recommendation, but instead of putting it on 4 lanes, they're gonna put it on 1 lane. And then where it's positioned, how it's positioned, what kind of bump, all that kind of stuff is on council and legal. The illegality of the committee, the words that I heard, oh, we're doing things illegal. My thing is, we have nothing to do. We made a recommendation, council acted, and now the town and staff and legal and all that take care of doing it, I guess, according to the county and Department of Transportation, all the people that are involved. Okay.
Yeah, the other thing that we're gonna get out of this, since they only went with one, is that the homeowners are gonna be affected. If you have a card, you go to the right and in the middle, you go in, no
Right.
problem, you don't have to speak.
Right.
That's not gonna affect you.
Right,
The visitors will
the
get affected.
visitors.
We'll get some data, once we have the data, and see how it compares to this versus the other two. And if they continue breaking these arms more often than the visitor, it goes down to nothing, something we need to consider.
Right.
Or the swivel, there's another option.
There's other alternatives that you can look into to help. One thing would be, and I know that this would be a low cost solution, would be maybe moving the stop signs where they are from behind the lane to maybe before it.
Yeah, because when
To
you're
make
leaving,
sure
you
that
know
they
you're stopping. I'm thinking
Right,
about
to,
that.
to force, and this is all of course, just your mind has been programmed to, when you see a stop sign, you slow down. So maybe pushing that
Well,
forward.
you're supposed to stop.
You're supposed to stop, yeah, correct, you're supposed to stop, so.
But the thing that just add stop sign.
Right, and maybe we should look into actually moving it, more in the middle of the lane as opposed to where it is right now. So those are other options to look
Okay.
for as far as trying to slow down the speed at which people are coming. Because I can tell you, me personally, I have witnessed it in the short time, even today, when there's no stops, when there's no guard gates, people are just flying through there, and I'm standing in the middle where I could potentially get hurt if someone is, on their phone and not paying attention. So I think that that's one thing to look into, and I will obviously look into the procedures and see how that can be, if that's possible to be done, and I'll bring it for you guys for the next meeting as far as.
If I may add,
Yeah.
2 cents on the guard gates,
Yeah.
arms and the speed bump. When it comes down to the arm coming down, you cannot put it slow, because what happens is that if a vehicle comes in, of course, the arm bar is down. Take the picture, it goes up, right? Vehicle passes, it comes down slowly. The other vehicle, sometimes they don't care. This gas close as they can.
It'll be the
Once
same.
that sensor reads the front, it goes up again on its own without even touching the button. So with that speed bump, it actually helps out for the vehicle to stop completely, mostly, hopefully. And then for the armbar to come down completely, take the picture and then pass.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's certainly true, it needs to, ultimately, the guard's job is to make sure that they take the picture of each one and stop, and for the guard gate to stop between vehicles. What we don't want is have, 10 seconds of a guard gate going up and then 5 cars passing through until it goes.
Exactly.
Gets down, so, he's right.
I have a question,
Mhm.
John. Our guard gate, I would say, is this the most traffic of all the guard gates in Miami Lakes?
Well, you are the only location that has one entrance, and, well, I mean, I guess Loch Lomond as well, so
Right,
let me take
it's a
that.
smaller,
Right.
smaller population in
Right,
there.
you have a large amount of resident homes in the area. And it is one entryway, so
I would say that increases the amount that specific area.
I would assume, because when we have 1,500 going and comings, that's a lot.
So ultimately, what I'm trying to do is make sure that our security guards are making sure that they are following the post orders, which I should mention as well. We've updated the post orders to make sure that it reflects what we need the guards to do, make sure that they are and the post orders were written in a way to make sure that they're not only being followed, but to improve the situation of the guard gates breaking. So we're making sure that the guard gate comes all the way down before they go ahead and reopen it. So that's part of the reason, that's part of the solutions that I'm trying to work on.
Can we please get a copy of? the new
Absolutely, and I'll be
post
happy
orders so
to
that-
provide you.
I know as a committee, we had them back in the day, but
Mhm.
they've been new and improved and changed. I'd love to review that.
100%. Yeah.
On the same topic, is SFM equipped and prepared to keep track of the incidences per lane? For example, if once the speed bump is installed in the visitor lane,
Mhm.
would you be able to report back how many incidents happen in that lane versus the other lanes? Or you can just give us, there's 89 and 27, but now we don't know which lane? Because that would be, if we can't monitor it, then
I will speak to my IT guy to see if we could make those changes. in
because
our-
I
in
think
our
at this
system.
point, the focus would be is that lane, the one that gets a speed bump,
Mhm.
we don't need the other ones individually, but if we get that one,
Mhm.
we can do that.
Of course, yeah,
And
I think we can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good job.
I'm trying, I'm trying.
Okay, anything else? All right, moving on to crime report update.
I will have to get back to you on that. I wasn't able to get in contact with Gonzo in time for today's Adrian Gonzalez before today's meeting. So I will get back to you and I will send you whatever report he provides. I'll send it to you via email. I should have mentioned that. I think I should have mentioned that at the beginning, right?
Change it to the
The changing the agenda.
Dollar.
All right, budget 23-24 update. It went out, did it get approved with the council with the changes and?
It's still being finalized. There was a second reading. And it is still being finalized.
But the town council did make some changes or recommendations, recommended changes to what we proposed originally, correct?
Correct. They're still, as far as, we're still reviewing the ordinances, which I think Councilmember Garcia mentioned. Once we kind of get back on that, we'll, I believe a final decision will be made on a few of the things.
Well, the final vote then should be
Did they say September?
September.
September, yeah.
Yes.
The week before October 1st, because everything starts.
with the first starts kicking.
Can I ask the committee, we have one councilman here, right? Brown had left. Would it be helpful to us as a committee if the councilman that is present can share with us whatever concerns or whatever is, I guess, what's the talk of the town council regarding our budget? Is there anything you can share with us?
Well, I know a lot of the residents were concerned about, you already know the ordinance, if we're following the ordinance, and our legal department, our town lawyers are looking into that to make sure that, of course, we don't do anything that is not, legal, of course. And the residents had issues. They brought up that they wanted to be informed more and have a vote when certain capital improvements come up. Also, the carryover, the savings of 15%. I know we talked about making it 10%. Also, what constitutes, what goes to a vote is something as well. What's the limit? I think everybody understands if you run a budget or even a household budget or anything, every single item that's voted on can't go to a vote to the public, but major items were asked by the residents that are some of them who are here, say, if there's a major capital improvement, we'd like to have a voice in it as well. Also, I feel as a councilman, and the reason why I'm here and I've attended the meetings is I haven't, reached out to you guys a little bit more to get your volunteers to get, the why. The why. You've just explained, the gentleman here just explained, over 80 issues with the guard gate. Right? The decisions you make aren't arbitrary, right? You said, let's put the reason they said let's put a speed bump there was, hey, let's slow down the incidences so it doesn't cost time and money. You're trying to save money, I understand. The residents are like, wait a second, we don't want speed bumps. So what the council says, okay, let's do a pilot project. We're not gonna put it in the visitor section. Let's just try it out in the home section. Try it on the visitor section, see if that works. Now, the gentleman is correct. These 1,500, and that could be a slow day, honestly.
Yeah.
This machinery, it goes up and down, it goes up and down. It's meant to break. That's why you have those plastic, to make sure that falls out. But these are machines, they go up and down, up and down. If they're stopped in the middle of their process, it causes more damage, right? So the reason for, and I've lived in communities where there's speed bumps in the front. And I've personally seen dramatic improvements on the speed bump, preventing knocking it down. So I understand why you guys made that decision. It's because you're trying to save money, and in the end, save money for the residents. The residents' concern was, hey, wait a second, we have issues with emergency vehicles, we have issues with this, we have issues with that. It's understandable. So they want to see more. They brought more. They want to see more communication, and I know that's why you're here, JP, to help with that. You met with them as well about improving communications. So honestly, I think we're all in agreement in the sense where, we want security as well as making sure we're not overextending ourselves and extending costs to the residents who are not only paying ad valorem taxes, but they're also paying for the special taxing district, right? So I totally understand. So where the councils, where I can speak myself is I want to do what make common sense based on, first of all, he's the professional, right? He's telling us, hey, this is how we have to set it up so we won't have these costs, right? But the residents want more. I guess they want to be informed more. They want to have more of a voice. I don't see a reason why we can't do it all, guys. I really don't. But honestly, we have to listen to the numbers, right? And the numbers say we can prevent certain things by doing certain things, right? You guys base all your decisions based on facts here. You're not arbitrarily saying, I want this, I want that. I do agree, though, there are certain things that we can maybe not do. Flowers are nice, but maybe we can do, instead of every 3 months, we can do something that you don't have to change, or you can stay there, or they're native plants. So you can save a little money here, save a little money there. But again, I think it's a balance. And I think JP coming in here is going to change the dynamic. I really do. And again, that's why I'm here, guys. A lot of residents don't agree with what I did when it comes to the speed bumps, but I can tell you that the reason that I did do it is because I see the numbers. I saw the numbers, and I say this is going to save you guys in the end money and time. And I see why you guys made that choice. So I think you all live in the same community, right? You all live there, so working together and just making sure everybody's informed and coming to the meetings. I think we can do a better job of letting other residents know, because I see the same faces over and over again at the meeting. I'd like to see more faces, so maybe JP, we can do everything we can to bring in the other 823 residents.
And
Yeah.
just to quickly piggyback off what you just said, I do want to touch base. I did have a meeting with some residents in the community, and I did stop by the Lake Lennon HOA to kind of see what I can do as far as improving communication. And so a lot of what was mentioned to me was to make sure that we have regularly scheduled meetings going forward, which is why I sent you all that email, and why starting October 1st we are going to have regularly scheduled. I believe it's on the second Monday of every quarterly month, so every 3 months at 6 p.m. And I will be sure to be in doing so. I'll be able to make sure that we're able to post our NSD meetings on the Miami Laker ahead of time. I'll be able to. I'm also updating all the HOA's information for us to make sure that we have the most accurate and up-to-date
information so that I could email the HOAs ahead of time. So that they're aware and they could send out to the residents through email. Because I can't personally email everyone. It has to be through the HOA. And then I'm gonna continue to put up the signs at least 24 hours before. Please, please give me some time, you know, it may, I know that before it was like 2 days before, 24
Yeah.
hours. But sometimes I may not be able to, so I wasn't able to put it until yesterday, late yesterday. But I will make sure that the signs are up. And I'm having the security guards and SFM has been very helpful with passing out the flyers in the visitor lane, at least. For residents that do come through that lane to have that. Unfortunately, we can't put it through the residential lanes because it's too far out. Still looking to see how I can maybe make that happen. But I am working to improve the communication so that everyone's aware of the meeting.
On that note, it took us various meetings to address notifying the meetings, and I think that when they made those A signs, we saw an improvement, and rooms started filling up, and people were like, "Oh, I didn't know,"
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So on that note, I know it's on the town website, so anybody that really wants to know,
It's on.
if you want to know, you can know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be knocking on anybody's door saying, hey, that kind of stuff, but. When you say that you'll put the sign out a day before, I would ask, and I know you have a lot on your shoulder. Is there any way to do that with a little bit more notice? The reason why I say that is. Not every resident leaves the community every day. So I would ask for there be a little bit more notice. Because the more input we hear from them in one way, shape, or the other, it allows us to address those issues in a better way.
No, 100%. I will try to do a better job. This yesterday was.
And I'm not busting your chops on
no,
that,
no,
but I know you said I'll put it out a day, 24 hours before, and then I'm kind of thinking.
So I think I will be able to going forward, just simply because I'll put it out on, say, a Friday.
Yeah.
Since we have our meetings on Monday. So that would give ample notice throughout the weekend. So I
Taking
think,
them down
think
in
that
24 hours would be great, because sometimes it stays there for a while.
yeah,
But putting it up with more than one
Yeah.
day, I think.
So,
would be,
I will do my best to, no, I won't do my best. I will make sure that they're up by Friday. If we have a meeting on Monday, it'll be up by Friday.
like you-
And then as far as taking them down. Tomorrow I will go as soon as I can to go ahead and try to take it down.
So the flags the flags still there, the July 4th.
I got a message on C-Click Fix about that. I'm still trying to figure out who put them up because it wasn't myself.
It's advertising, it's one of the
Yeah.
realtors, and I did it last year, and by the way, I have no
Yeah.
objection to it.
So,
July 4th has come and gone, I'm still an American, I
Yeah,
have flag in my
absolutely.
house, but I don't think they should be there anymore.
and it's not just you, it's not just your section. There is another section as well that has them up still. So I wasn't able to today, but I did get a message from a resident asking to go ahead and take them down. So I will make sure to pass by tomorrow and take them down. Absolutely.
Question for you, Janet. I just want to make sure that I have the right numbers. The fees that are paid by section 1 today are $340.98.
I,
The proposed is just $348, which is $8 more, correct?
I will have to get back to you on that. I
Because we have
did
the
not bring
numbers
my-
in the minutes, but I wanted to make sure that I have gotten them right. And,
I
Correct.
apologize.
You're absolutely
it's an
correct.
$8.
Hope knows better than I do.
So the,
Correct.
so the proposed is $8.
Yes, no, moving on, landscaping update.
New flowers were planted 2 weeks ago. The only update I have as far as the plants at the moment.
If we were to consider one of every 6 months, that would be in the next budget, right?
Yeah, it would have to be, I mean, depending on the decision made Right.
They also control it as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong, the decision for us to have it like we do is because the town does it that way, and we're just part of this, the town changing.
Correct, you're following, currently you're following the town.
But now that we came up with that, let's
Right.
do it everything.
Right now, you're following the town's schedule.
I think when we did the last meeting, the committee talked about it, we wanted to follow everybody else, we made the recommendation, town accepted the recommendation, and then here we are.
That's right.
Right. New business.
On behalf of my association, if I may just offer a motion. And the motion is going to be a full vote for the board. For comments, let's say a visitor comments, permit the owners to participate in advisory boards discussions related to projects that are brought to the board.
Can you repeat that?
I'm gonna
Motion to,
a motion to allow, instead of the 3-minute owner comments, to permit owners to participate in the advisory board's discussions related to projects beyond the ordinance, stated ordinance projects that come up, like capital equipment, capital expenditure projects, etc. So that'll be my motion to see if basically those in presence can be allowed 3 minutes to discuss with projects about the board.
isn't that what we do?
I believe what he's saying is he wants them to give 3 minutes of when we're having the board meeting. Is that what you're saying?
If capital improvement projects are brought to the board for discussion for future budget.
Well, I think that, I mean, that's what we do, and like, I realize that the gentleman cannot be able to participate during the regular, then during the actual item, we make the motion to open. the
So that can be
public
made during the budget discussion, okay.
hearing. Whatever time you
You
can.
could motion, I could motion to
Yeah.
reopen public comments to hear, and
Oh,
like,
no,
we did it today.
Okay,
Like we just did for this.
Yeah.
so that person would have to be here to do that, okay, like so that, in that case, I don't need that motion.
It would have to be up to you guys to motion
To allow that.
Right.
So this is a good learning experience for me.
Yeah,
That doesn't
usually
work
the
out.
full board, you're not registered, but you get up and say, I want to speak, and they make the motion, and then you speak.
Okay,
Now,
On the
just to be very clear, the same rules apply. So it is up to you if you want to comment back. It is up to you if you want to extend their time after those 3 minutes. All of those same rules apply for open comments.
Right, the
Now, whenever you
requirement,
do make a motion of that.
the requirement during public comments that the board doesn't engage, but today, okay, we can make that change at the table at that particular moment, and then for each
So-
item, we can have
Alright.
public comment on each item.
that's notification process for me, right? Because I actually witnessed it, because I was reading a text that was given to me by a member. So it would behoove the residents here to show up at this particular meeting as stuff are tabled, right? And brought up for discussion, in motion. Listen, that particular person,
But-
et cetera, et cetera, okay, gotcha.
Go, you have one.
Well, and that's part of the reason for the improving communication is these agendas will be posted ahead of time. People will know what is going to be as far as being business items or anything along those sorts, any information, so that it's up to them if they want to come to these meetings to make a public comment on those. So ultimately, I'm going to try to make sure that the residents are as aware as possible of an upcoming meeting. It's up to them to come and attend.
And to that note, in the past, residents emailed. There was a point in time. Now, I don't know if that was. I'm trying to think, was it a result of COVID or not? But there were residents that would email their public comments. And then we would either read them into the record, or we would acknowledge them and make them part of the record without reading them out loud.
But we haven't been
So
receiving.
to address
My understanding,
my co-council member, advisory committee member.
In training.
When you said you have to be present. There have been times in my experience on this committee that they weren't present, but their voice, their words were acknowledged and recognized by us as members because of email. Has that changed? Can you, since you're
My
new
understanding,
energy,
yeah.
new blood?
My understanding is that the ability to make public comments through YouTube or whatever the case may be was something that was only allowed at during COVID time. That is something that is done through the council meetings. But during NSD meetings and any committee meetings, they have to be present in order to make a public comments. That being said, you are able to send a comment to any of you or to myself to make a comment on their behalf. So whatever they write, I could go ahead and read it.
Okay.
Right.
So the email is still a way of.
Yes, emails.
Voicing their,
Absolutely. If they want to email me beforehand or email any one of you, they are able to, and then at that point, we would read their public comment. For the record, I haven't received any public comments, any emails for public comments before today's meeting. So that is why there was only that.
thank you.
John, when you said you wanted to make sure you have information on all the members, all the homeowner association presidents and their boards.
Well, not just presidents, their boards, and their contact information.
And their contact.
So that I can go ahead and reach out. I know Lake Lebanon has been very good about giving me their information is up to date.
Okay,
They provided me an email address that no matter who is the president or chairman or whatever the case, whoever's in charge at that time, it goes to that specific email. And so it just gets passed along to the new president. And so I can go ahead and send an email anytime to them and they can inform the residents.
okay. Well, that's a good thing, but you know, now Miami-Dade County has, everything is public record.
Mhm.
So you can go on there and see the board members.
Absolutely, and I could look up, and I could do at any time.
Yeah,
I could look up their names and who's the
right.
chair and,
yeah.
but that's not really the information that I need. It's
Okay.
more of the contact information.
Okay, perfect.
So, yeah.
And so I'm just one person here. So on public comments, like we had a few people today, and I know in the past where instead of comments, it's more questions, and they want to enter into this, right, question and answer type of thing.
Mhm.
At the beginning, I think you gave directions like, no, this is just public comments, you know, we can or cannot answer. But then later on, I think we opened and we answered, so what's the correct procedure so that as a board, as a committee, we understand?
Whenever a comment is made, a public comment is made, it is up to your discretion as to if you want to go ahead and respond. You are not
Obligated.
you're not obligated to respond to any comments that are made. Typically what will happen is you'll make the decision and as we have today, some comments were turned into from comments to conversations, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
But that's your discretion as the advisory board.
Because what I tried to do was address the questions when we talked about the item,
Mhm.
but then sometimes they ask questions that are not on the agenda.
Well, yeah,
You
we've
know?
done that a couple times, and I realized that and you know,
So it's basically, you know, yes, it's 3 minutes, they can ask it 20,000 questions, and we can just move on and later address it however. I guess individually or as a committee we want to, no, address the questions.
right, so once public comments is closed, you know, at that point, it's up to your discretion if you want to reopen public comments, which is what I think he was alluding to is, can we open public comments during capital projects, capital improvement items? Absolutely, you can. You can do it at any time. It's not just during capital improvement items, it's during any order of business, old business or new business. If you want to open it up, that's up to your discretion. You have to make a motion to do so, and there has to be a second to to be able to do.
Can we open it, if we just discuss a certain topic, can we decide to open it to everybody, or just have to be, one at a time? How does that work?
That is a motion that you can put in place, at that moment if you want to,
Mine was specific to this one.
Right, but I wanted to know if we could just open it up for everybody to chime in.
And also, if I may, if there were to be an item that will garnish a lot of interest in the community, we can turn that particular item in like a workshop type. And we will listen. I mean, at that point, we have that. We can say, okay, anybody, and rather than having it into like an orderly, we can have not a free for all, but it doesn't have to be in the particular.
that would have to be separate from our, usual quarterly
Right.
meetings, but if you want to set up a workshop, which is, something that I did, myself, on Tuesday, I set up a communication workshop and some residents of the community, arrived so that I could go ahead and discuss with them, some things. You're absolutely able to do it. We just want to make sure that, whenever that decision is made, we give them ample
If I
time.
have to have notification, I mean, I've done that.
And I would-
It's something that totally
Right,
makes it like, okay, let's have the conversation.
correct, absolutely.
Okay, any other?
Before we adjourn, just to correct, so it would be the second Monday of November is our next scheduled meeting at 6 o'clock.
October, second Monday of October, which would be October,
I thought you said every 3 months.
right, but not, I'm saying, regularly scheduled starting
Okay.
October.
So the next meeting is October.
Second Monday of October.
It's
October
9th, which is Columbus Day.
That is correct. Is it Columbus Day?
Yeah.
That's my mistake. I didn't know that it was Columbus Day.
Which is
I
Indigenous Day,
will,
by the way.
Can we change that?
I will go ahead and see if we can, I want to keep it on the second Monday of every month, but maybe for that one, we'll push it to another date. Now that it's been brought up to my attention, I'll go ahead and fix that. I apologize.
Okay, so do we adjourn? You're going to tell, inform us.
TBD.
Okay.
Who would have known that all I had to do is check the holidays? you know?
After yours.
Okay.
Need a motion
All right, we got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
from the chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Who seconded? So yeah.
I know, like, but very-
See, adjourn.
7:21.
I just. I do.